Let's just right click and run. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. What is going on, guys? Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Amigoscode. In this video, I want to pick a project which was sent on the code reviews channel. And this is because of the previous video that I've done 2 weeks ago. You guys seem to be really interesting in this sort of stuff. So I was like, okay, fine. Let me just pick someone else's repository. And this time what I'm going to do is actually dig deep into one of these classes. And I'm going to refactor and even add a test so that you can see the overall process. If you're new to my channel, literally just take 2 seconds and smash that like button. Literally just take 2 seconds. So while I drink this, Bismillah. Cranberry juice. This is amazing. So good. Especially when it's really cold. So yeah, so hopefully by now you should have subscribed. And if you're not part of the Discord community, go ahead and join. So the community is growing. I think around 15,000 people and growing. And also we have a private Facebook group, which very soon everybody's going to be shifting to Discord because Discord is amazing for communities. So without further ado, let's kick off this video. Right, so in here, I've got this person right here. I really don't know his name. I think it's that's his nickname, basically, Mint. So he said, hello, I really loved your video or your last video and thought I would share my code for review. I'm a final year software engineer student and this project is for last year internship. And basically he gave me the repo, yada yada. But I'm going to go over and basically clone this, which I actually cloned already. I'm going to review some of these classes and whatnot and add a test, 1 or 2 maybe. Let's see how we get. So I actually haven't looked into this. So this is my first time looking into this repository. So hopefully should be not that bad. Hopefully. So there's a bunch of people that actually sent me more stuff, really interesting projects. Really sorry if I cannot review right now because there's so many of you, but let me know if you want me to, continue the series. Then I can go over some of these repos and, give you some feedback basically. Okie dokie. So I already cloned and I've got IntelliJ open. So let me just open up IntelliJ. And in here, the first thing that I can tell you is that you don't have the README. So from last week, I said that README, it's really important that you have README because I can just look at this and know exactly what this project is about. So here I can see you've named the main folder reservation, but then the module you called it booking system, which is yeah. So yeah, I know naming is hard, but you can do better, right? So then I can see you've got some GitHub stuff. So workflows build. Okay, that's fine. Let's have a look at this. So on pull requests, opened, reopened, then you set up Java 11, you check out the code and you use some caching and basically you're using Sonar Cloud. So this is mainly for checking whether you've got the right test coverage, code smells and whatnot, which I kind of like. And cool. So this is nothing special here, but it's awesome because, by just pushing and open up a pull request, you can basically just see how the code looks like. Right. So let's basically close this. So we don't need this. And what I want to focus here, really, I'm just going to go straight into what matters, right? Let's just dive into tests. All right, so I can see some tests, fine. Now, I'm not going to look into these tests. What I'm going to do is actually right click and then run tests with coverage. So write tests with coverage and let's see if they all pass. What? You got tests which are currently broken? What is this? What is this, man? Right, so let's have a look even at these tests. So, okay, context loads. So there's something wrong with your code. So let's go into this test. So this failed. And basically, let's have a look at the coverage in here. So the coverage for reservation is quite low, to be honest. Have a look. So yeah, this is like pretty much really low. So to me, it looks like you don't have any tests. So let's just have a look. So let's open up this. It's empty. Okay, cool. So this was at your internship. So I would expect you to do some testing, but let's just get rid of this because this is just causing us problems right now. Entities. I don't know why you test entities. No one does. So let's open up. And yeah, it's empty, so we don't need this as well. And whoa, hold on, was that it? All right, so you've got a package here which is not tested. Yes, that is it. Okay, cool. So let's just get rid of that and this package as well. So hopefully I can basically write one test so you can see the overall process. Now what I want to do is let's just go into src main and then Java. And you can even see, so IntelliJ is quite nice. So it gives you the code coverage, which is really great. So 12% of classes, one line covered, and you can see all of these classes or packages, my bad. Now, what I'm interested is, so I'm going to go straight into, so I'm not interested in config, nor DAO, nor DTO, no entities, no exceptions, no mappers, nor security, but I'm interested in the service because this is where the business logic lives. So let's just open it up. Service. Okay, so you've got a bunch of classes in here. So I wish I could, spend my entire day just going over this, refactoring, give you some feedback. But let's just pick the very first class, which is booking service. All right, so if you see in here, have a look. So this is kind of nice, right? So you can see these red lines in here. So this is IntelliJ telling you what's been tested. So currently, if it's red, it hasn't been tested. And have a look. So all of this not tested, and hopefully I can give you some feedback and let's see if we can improve on this. Now I'm going to try and destroy all of this. Sorry. Now I'm going to try and destroy all of this if I have to. Literally, that is the goal. So you can see how I would go about and refactor everything. Okay, so the first thing I can see here, so let's just have a look. So you've got your imports right here, and then you have java.util. So I usually don't like to have star in here. So it's always best if you have all imports which are being used instead of having everything. So this is the best practice. Then next, I can see that you're using Lombok. That's fine. At service, that's good. Transactional, required all Rx constructor, which is fine. But then one thing which I can see immediately, why is this public? Why? It doesn't have to be public, right? So these instead, they should be private. And also, what's this? Like, yeah, format your code. Like literally format your code. So here, this should be like that, like this. And then here, let's just select public and let's select everything and let's make this as private. There we go. And you can see this is much neater. Right. Then you have user repository, which is not being used. So this can go. And right here, so you have public list booking DTO, list all. Okay, list all what? Just imagine if every single method out there is named list all, right? Then yeah, so that light in there, the blue light, it just keeps on, flashing. But if every single method out there was named list all, then you can imagine that it becomes so difficult to navigate around. Because, when you build projects, big applications, you have to use distinctive names because it's not just you working on it. You've got a bunch of other engineers searching, refactoring, and, find usages and all these things. And if I want to search all the methods and everything is called list all, like, come on, just work a little bit on the naming basically, right? So here, booking repository. So here, maybe you can say find. So what I'm going to do is refactor this. So I'm going to say find all bookings. So this is much better, right? Then this line can go and this is good. Okay, so maybe one thing here, if you want, you can basically extract this to a variable, and you can say bookings, and then you can basically return the converter entity to DTO, and then you pass the bookings. So this is much easier to read. Next, let's have a look. Delete by code. So delete what, right? So again, naming in here. So never start the method name with uppercase. So this should be camel case, and camel case goes like this. So delete, and then here this should be booking by code. Yeah. So delete booking by code, and then you have your booking repository, delete by code, which is fine, and then you pass the code. Awesome. The next method, let's have a look. So in here, this one. So get by ID, this throws an exception not found. So if this is empty, then you throw this exception. Okay, so I can see right here that you're not using this properly. So let's have a look. Not found exception. So this should be a runtime exception and not a checked exception. Yeah, because you're not forcing the caller of that method to deal with that exception right away, right? Because your code can compile. So this is a runtime exception because, you know, an error might occur during the normal execution of your application. Okay, so this should be runtime exception. And I'm not sure whether you're using Spring or not, but then this by default returns a 500. So I think you're using Spring. Yeah, so here I think you can say at response status, and you can say not found. So this is now returning the correct response back to the client. So 404. Let's go back. So here, again, we don't need this in here. And this right here, we can do better. So what we can do is, so here, let's just rewrite this. So we can say booking repository dot find by code. We pass ID. Now this guy right here returns a booking. Now what I'm going to do, so if I go inside here, you have booking and then find booking by code. What you could do is you could encapsulate this into an optional if you want. So you could say optional of booking, and we'll fix these three problems in a second. So then what you do is in here, you say, right, so now I can say dot, and then you can see that you are throwing the exception, right? So if this is not present, you can say or else throw, and this is a lambda like that. And then let's just get rid of that. And what is this? So this should be string ID. Oh, actually, sorry, it's find by ID. My bad. So I'm actually refactoring the wrong thing. So let's just go back in here. So it's not that one, and it's this one here. Oh, this actually already returns an optional, which is fine. So beautiful. So it returns an optional, and we are passing the ID in there. So find by ID. So here, this should be find by ID. So I was using the wrong one. Or else you throw that exception just like that. And then what I'm going to do is, so just before I say or else, here you actually map. So you convert your record that you find from the database to a DTO. So here we can actually say map. So let me just put this right here, and here we can say dot map, and then we're going to take this guy right here, and here we get a book. So or booking, I'm going to call it booking, and then paste that. Now instead of saying booking.get, I can just say booking, and have a look. So this now is much neater. So this is return, and have a look. And I can even take a step further, which is replace with method reference, and have a look. This is much nicer, right? And one other thing which I can see here is reservation not found or not available. So here, which reservation, right? So you need to be specific. Reservation, and then here we could just you could use format and whatnot, but let me just use plus in here. ID not found. So here you are giving more information to the client. So you're saying reservation, and let's just say column in here, and then not available or not found, for example. So this is much neater. All right, let's move into the next one, shall we? So here, I think this is fine. Again, let's just say booking in here. And I'm just doing this so that it's easier to read. Now, here you don't have any validation, right? You don't have any validation. Now, I would say if you don't have any validation, then in your booking DTO in here, so you should basically enforce that, or on the controller, you should say, right, so this has to be present, which I'm assuming you are doing, right? I'm not going to check, but I assume that you are doing. So hence, you're not performing whether it's blank here or not. But this, I think, is taking shape, right? So have a look how we are improving all of this. So here, let's just get rid of that space. All right, cool. Then book a room. So you're going to book a room. So you're going to pass the name, local date, start, and whatnot. Now here, this should be before. So room. So I'm going to say room. And then here, all of this should be name like that. And then start. So work on the namings in here. And this should be end just like this. Okay. Then this should be name, lowercase. And you have the room. Now, if this is null, then what's going to happen, right? You need to account for that. So here, let's just say, because you're not using optionals. So here, have a look. This is your interface, and you're not using optionals. We could say optional dot of nullable, or we could just return an optional in here. So let's just say optional. And again, if there is any problems, 6 problems. Okay, I don't want to fix all those 6 problems right now. Let's just keep it simple. So here, I'm going to say optional dot of nullable, because it can't be null, dot, or else we're going to throw an exception. So let's just throw an exception. So again, not found exception. Cool. We can just reuse this. So new not found exception. This is now returning the right thing to the client, and you can pass a message in here. So room with plus name. So name. This should be not found. Not found. Just like that. Okie dokie. So I just have to add the actual name in here. There we go. And this is much better, right? So room, like that. So room, and then pass the name, not found. Then if this is the case, right, so now you can start your booking. So you create the booking, you set the room, set the start date, and you set the code. Now, I think this logic is wrong. I think this should return void, right? So think about REST. Just literally think about REST. Wait. Book a room. And then, so what do you do with this? You just find the room, and then you set. Right. So I think you're using JPA. So yeah. So this is JPA, and I think you are expecting this to save. Okay. Cool. So think about REST. So you are posting. You are adding a new resource. So why are you returning an object? You don't. Okay. So this should be just 200 status code, and then you let the client, if it wants to get that data back, the client can get it back, right? So let me just have my cranberry juice. Bismillah. So here, what I'm saying is, don't return anything, and problem solved. This is much better. Now we have a problem in here, and I guess is because, yes, it's because you're passing this from another class. Let's have a look. Booking, and then you say booking.save. Yeah, so I think this is incorrect. Okay, but let's just go back in here. So you basically shouldn't return. I'm just going to leave it like this so it doesn't break anything, but make it void. Yeah. Then next booking. So this should be lowercase n. Then, okay, one thing I can see here is, have a look. You say next booking. It doesn't mean anything. Next booking, or find. Basically, just a name. Just the name needs to be better, right? So let's just move on. So here, then you have a final books. You create a next booking, which is empty. Min value. I don't know what this is doing here. Oh, right. So min value is, what is this number? Okay. So do this. So this should be underscore, and now it's easy to read. Also, never use numbers like this. So this should be a constant. So this should be a constant. Refactor, and then here introduce constant. So public static, and you can even make it private if you want, which is better. So here I'm going to say min value, and let me go to it, and this should be private. So this is much better. Okay. Now let's go back to it because I think this needs some work. And why is it complaining? Oh yeah, it's complaining because I didn't refactor correctly. So here, next booking, like that. And then you have some casting, which is not needed. And then right here, you have next, which is a new object. And then you basically mutating this. Whenever I see stuff like this, this is yelling at me, streams. But also, here, next booking, but then you return the code, right? Surely this should return the actual booking and not the code. So I think the name here, let's just refactor once more. So get next booking code. I think this is much better. Okay. Then, all right, so let's just try and refactor all of this. So in here, what we're going to do is we're going to say booking repository dot find all. Then we're going to stream. Then what you do, we're going to filter, because right here, this is your filter. Have a look, if. So I'm just going to copy all of that. Command W a couple of times. All good. Command C. And then here, we're going to take booking. And I'm going to paste that in. So have a look. This is now coming together. And also, you should always pass clock so that you have access to the time in here, right? Because when you test, then it's easy for you to move the clock forwards or backwards. So this is my filter. Then what do we have? So, okay, so I think what you're trying to do here is duration. You get the duration for, okay, and then, okay, so you're trying to find the minimum, and then you say the minimum, if the duration is less than the minimum, then you update that value. All right, cool. So I think we can do this. We can take all of this in here and in here. So new line, and I can say dot and then min. This takes a comparator, O1 and O2 in here. So instead of O1 and O2, I'm going to say B1 and then B2. So for booking. Okay. Now I'm going to paste this duration in here because this is what you are trying to do. Now I'm going to say B1. Oh, let's just not be lazy. So booking 1 and then booking 2. And then here, let's just say booking 1. And I don't think you need to cast this, do you? Oh, okay. So you're casting to be an integer. So this could be a long actually. So I think that returns a long. Okay, cool. So duration 1. And then let's just have the duration 2 in here. And instead of booking 1, this is booking 2. Booking 2 in here. And in here, what we're going to say is we're going to return, so duration 1 greater than duration 2. So this is using comparator. If this is the case, we're going to return 1, otherwise 0. There we go. So you can see this is much neater. Now, what do you do next? Then you have a system.out.println. So we don't need that. But the last thing that you return is code. So what we do here is we're going to say dot, and we're going to map. We're going to get the actual code. So get code by using method reference. And I think so here, this should actually return an optional, because if this is null, then things will break. So here, I'm just going to say or else another string. So the other string will be null. Now have a look. So this is much neater. And I can just say return. And all of this can go. Have a look. All of this can go. Just like that. So this is beautiful stuff now. And obviously, because I changed this, I want to make sure that indeed it does work. Yeah, I'm going to write a test for this. So let's just have a look. So here, get all by room name. So let's just refactor this again. So this will be, oops, get all by room name again. So what you're doing here, so you are checking whether this is null. Okay. So let's just try and do this. Let's just try and replace this with, so let's see. So, okay, so this is a room. Okay, I'm going to say optional dot of nullable, because this can be null. Let's just take this, pass it inside, and I'm going to say dot or else. We're going to throw the exception. So here, and this should be like this, and then new, and then not found exception. And let's add in the room. So plus plus, just like this. Okay. And in fact, I just have to remove that from there, and then pass the name. So name, and there we go. Now, what you have in here, what? Okay, so you say if it's null, you throw an exception, else you get the bookings, blah blah blah. Okay, so we can just say dot and then map. So always use functional style or declarative instead of you having to define every single business logic in here. So otherwise we're going to map. So this is a room. We're going to say room dot get bookings in here. And let's also take this. Oh, actually we could just return. So we could just say this basically, right? So we could just say this in here, just like that. And there we go. So you could do this, or if I go back once more, so dot map. So this now will give us bookings. And if I paste that and then pass bookings inside, so you can do either. Have a look now. This is much cleaner. And then return. And all of this now can go. Beautiful stuff. Now here, never use a collection, use list always. And I guess it's because of what? Is it because of this? It shouldn't be. Nothing breaks, I think, right? Let's just improve this with method reference. Method reference here as well. Whoops. and have a look. So this is much neater now. So I think we are almost there. So get user by booking ID. So here I'm going to say, refactor this, get user. So the name should be lowercase. Again, no need to throw in here. And get by ID. This throws the exception. That's fine. So if we go back, so there's a shortcut that allows you to go back to the last edited place. But so I think we were here, right? So here, yeah, I think we can just inline this just like that. There we go. Okie dokie. So here again, no need for this. And you convert to DTO, you set the code, you check the availability, and I think, and then yeah. Okay, so I'm just see whether I should complete this or not, because the video is already becoming too long. So I think basically this is the wrong approach. So when you save, just say void and return a status code 200. And again, use a functional programming here, confirm booking. Okay, this seems plausible. That's fine. And here you use lowercase c, which is fine. And then, okay, this looks okay. Just a space there. And then delete booking. So why are you getting, okay, so you're not using anything here. Okay, so I think you could just do what you've done here. Oh, get by ID. All right, so get by ID and also get by ID. So I think we could just reuse our get by ID in here, because that will throw an exception. That will throw an exception. So this will give us a booking DTO. If it's not found, it throws an exception. But the problem here is that you kind of just throwing around objects without even using them, right? So I'm just going to leave like this, but basically you should see whether it exists and maybe return it true. So here, I think you have find by ID, or no, find all. Oh yeah, get by ID. Let's have a look. Yeah, so this is exactly what you're using. So I think let's just get rid of that. And then this is basically, if it's null, then throw the exception. Basically whatever I've been doing, right? Okay, so let me just ignore this for now. So what I want to do is I want to quickly write a test. I think this was the main thing here that we refactored. So let me just write a test for this. So here, Command Shift T. So Command Shift T, create a test. And I think, what's the name of it? Next booking code. Next booking code. Select that. Let's also have the setup. And OK. I'm going to cancel. So this gives me the skeleton, which I'm going to need. I don't use this, by the way. I use a search for J. Now, let me just say can get next booking code. Okay, now let's have a look at the dependencies in here. So we have 3 dependencies. So let's just take this, and also this is not used anymore. Let's just get rid of it. So here, let's just basically have all these in here, and let's just select everything. I'm going to say mock. So if it's an external dependency, we should mock. So at mock, and this doesn't have to be final anymore. Let's have the booking service. So private booking service. I'm going to call it under test. And before each, the setup, I'm going to say under test equals to new. So we have a new instance each time, passing the book repository. This should be booking converter. So booking converter, booking converter. Oh, should be converter. I'll refactor this in a second, and then room repository. So you can see how clean this looks, right? So also I like to always put these on a new line. So just like that. And also we need to initialize the mocks. So Mockito annotations dot open mocks this, because otherwise we're going to have a bunch of null pointer exceptions. Now we need to test. So given, so the test that we want to test, or the method that we want to test is under test dot, so when under test by, or I think it was booking, yeah, next booking code. All right, so when this is actually invoked, so I'm going to say actual here, so this is the actual code that we get. So when this is invoked, we get this code, and then we have to perform some assertions. Now here, let's have a look. We need to mock this. So let's just take this, and I'm going to say given, and let's import static method from Mockito. So given the booking repository final dot will return list dot of, and these are the bookings. Okay, now let's just extract this to a variable. I'm going to say bookings, and within bookings we can have new and then booking. So ID will be 1L and local date. Oh yeah, we need to refactor a bunch of things, so the naming in here, but you get the point. So local date time dot, and then yeah, because we can't really control the clock, let's just say dot plus and then 10 minutes, and you'll see why in a second. So let's just basically put this on a new line so you see everything. Then I think, so the end date, so that'll be the same, but let's just say, I'm not even sure what is that. So 50 minutes, and this is testing, by the way. Description, I'm going to say foo, and then here code will be foo code, and then boolean confirm, this will be, let's say this true, and then the user, I'm just going to pass null because I don't think we use the user in there, and then the room will also be null. So this is one booking. We need another booking. So here, let's just take all of this and then put it there, and this will be bar. So let's just select this one, going to be bar, and then here, so let's just say that this is 15 minutes. So the start date, which is now plus 15 minutes, right? So we are expecting to basically, let's just take one other booking, so 2, and then a third booking, and this is the final one. So just like that, and then here I'm going to say bingo, and this will be bingo code. Not that I play bingo, but this ID will be 3, and let's just say that this will be 5 minutes. So we are expecting this to be the actual booking, right? So the expected one. Oh, actually, bingo code, I think this is what we're expecting. All right, so when that happens, so given the repository find all, return the bookings. When we try and find the next booking or the next booking code, then assert that import static method from assertions dot assert that from core API. I'm going to say actual. So I think it's actual that we have to pass. Yeah, so actual is what we get dot equals to expected. Well, let's just put var in here, expected equals to, and this will be, I think I said bingo code. So bingo code, just like that. And then here, bingo, whoops, bingo. Oh, expected. Right, cool. So this is our test. So let's see whether this works, shall we? Let's just right click and run. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Yes! First time. Oh my goodness. It's so satisfying. Trust me. It's amazing when tests just work first time around. Right, so this is the happy path. Now let's basically have a second one. And usually with tests, what we do is we just basically copy them around. There we go. And cannot get next booking code when empty. So when the list is empty. So when booking or bookings are empty. So here we can get rid of all of this. And here, let's just say list dot of. And in fact, let me just basically, let's just do this. Bookings there. And we're going to basically just remove this. So empty list. And then here, this should be null. So I can get rid of that. Actual is null. All right, let's give a go again. Fingers crossed, fingers crossed, fingers crossed. Hooray, it's working. Beautiful stuff. Nice. I think one more. I think yeah, you could have maybe just when it's one, but I think this is working. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically right click and then run with coverage. And let me replace active suits in here. There we go. And all I want to see is, let's just go back in here for a second on the class which is being tested and have a look. So we have green. This is beautiful. We have green. Cool. So you can see that we changed a couple of things and we are testing as we change and refactor, which is what you should be doing. So obviously I didn't refactor these other two methods, but this is it. And have a look. Also, you have a bunch of other classes, department service, which I'm not going to go into because, as I said, I wish I could spend hours and hours, refactoring and testing all of this. But we've done it. We've literally done it. So this is pretty much everything for this video. Let me know what you thought about this video. Also, let me know what you want to see next. Literally, just let me know what you want to see next and comment down below. It was fun. And yeah, I'll catch you on the next one. Assalamu alaikum.